And go.
Hello, my name is Alexandra, and I research childhood obesity in America because since we've been alive, it's been a serious issue, and it continues to grow at a rapid pace. Nicholas Reeves is an 117-pound 8-year-old boy living in Nashville, Tennessee. He already weighs more than his 13-year-old brother and has had his tonsils removed because the fat around his neck was causing sleep apnea. He is just an 8-year-old boy, and he is already at a high risk for type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, and heart attacks as he grows older, and will probably have a shorter lifespan than that of his parents. This is just one story out of millions for kids all over the U.S., as 1/3 of the nation's children are overweight. There are many causes of childhood obesity, but I've set aside a couple that I think are most prevalent. Number one, the food that America is eating, whether it be in schools, at home, or out. And two, parental negligence towards what their children are eating. And activities really have taken a toll on the weight of Americans. If you ask someone from another country what they think of when they think of Americans, they will say fat. There are 70 million clinically obese individuals in America today. The sedimentary lifestyle and unhealthy eating habits that these adults have now become comfortable with are now being passed down to their children. Studies show that 80% of children who are overweight at a young age will be overweight after the age of 25, which shows that killing habits at a young age is crucial. School lunches across the U.S. are an average of 730 calories. Not only are these lunches extremely unhealthy, but they teach children what to eat when they aren't at school. Fast food has also obviously dramatically increased childhood obesity, especially in low-income neighborhoods. A study was taken in New Orleans which showed that there were 2.4 fast food restaurants per square mile in a low-income neighborhood and only 1.5 fast food restaurants per square mile in a wealthier neighborhood. Obesity is one epidemic that hits every gender, every race, and every age in this country. But the fast food companies really target low-income neighborhoods because they know that they are much more susceptible to their prices. There was a program called Faith Moves Mountains, which was created in the South to target obesity prevention, specifically for individuals who lived in a small area in the Appalachian Mountains. The church held walking circuits and nutrition classes for people in their church. Because of the program's goal of reaching out to the specific church-based community, it was a tremendous success. There was another program called New Moves that was designed specifically for girls, and it held PE classes and nutrition classes just for girls. After the 9-month program came to an end, interviews from parents and from the students showed that the program improved the girls' diets and health and left a good impression on the students. Teaching children about nutrition and what is good for their bodies is crucial for this country to start making health and not obesity the norm. Wellness programs in schools and face-to-face contact with parents about what the food they are feeding their kids is doing to their children's futures is the most important first step in helping America. To test this argument, I ran this issue through 3 different frameworks. The first is the image of God. Individuals struggling with their weight also have a high risk for depression and self-esteem issues. The amount of teasing and bullying that overweight individuals face really causes some people to give up. The fact that everyone was created in the image of God and that we were made to be stewards of our bodies and of the people around us needs to be understood before people start caring about this issue and wanting to make a difference. The next lens is communitarianism, which is the belief that justice comes from a moral obligation to those in your community. Looking at this problem through the lens of communitarianism, wellness programs in schools and for adults and healthier school lunches would be more of a priority, and more money would be spent on bettering the health of the community. Shaping a healthy atmosphere rather than encouraging unhealthy eating would be at the forefront. The last framework I looked at this problem through is libertarianism, which argues that individuals have the right to complete freedom as long as it does not interfere with another's personal rights. A libertarian would argue that Americans can eat whatever they want without anyone intervening. When you think about it, American society is very much prided in its libertarian mindset. As long as individuals don't concern others with their weight issues, they have full and complete freedom. It's here in this mindset that Americans have fallen susceptible to obesity. Looking at these 3 frameworks, bringing the issue as much as possible to the local level stands as the most beneficial way of halting its spread. Community awareness of childhood obesity and localized efforts with an understanding of the local culture while connecting to a broader network of similar efforts is crucial. With these efforts and communication with each other across the nation, this network of obesity prevention will stand as a strong voice against childhood obesity and with its core in the local community. They will not only be able to share with each other the successes and failures they've seen, but they will be able to broadcast the work they're doing. Bringing the issue as close to the individual as possible will be the most effective way of changing the obesity norm in the country. Thank you.
action this area of like wellness programs and changing the obesity norm, who's primarily responsible for like starting that?
Well, I was thinking, because like I think the best way to handle it would be to have a bunch of different networking wellness programs that are talking to each other and communicating like successes and failures. And like in order to start that, you need to tell people who are passionate about this topic. So maybe like holding a conference, and anyone who's passionate about childhood obesity can gather and just have a baseline. What is the problem? How can we fix it? And then from there, they go into their individual communities and start working towards it. That answers your question. Yeah.
Out of all the frameworks you use, which one is the best fit for your problem analysis?
Probably communitarianism, because it focuses on the community, and I think that to help this problem, you really need to focus on the community that you're in. Yeah.
Obviously, they're both incredibly important, but would you focus on primarily working with food or exercise? Like, which pathway would you use to address obesity?
I think that it's different for different communities, and I think that's why it's important for different programs to communicate with each other, because in one area, exercise might be more of a need, and then in another neighborhood, in a different state, maybe nutrition classes will be more effective. So different ideas that people have, and then networking with each other about if it was successful in this community, if it wasn't, and like what they can change.
Okay.
Yeah.
You mentioned that a lot of times lower income communities are more susceptible to like the fast food and unhealthy food.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think like for people who can't afford, if that's all they can afford, do you think the food industries have any role in this, like changing their prices, or like how do you get around that if people can't afford it?
Well, I don't think that like trying to hit McDonald's or Burger King is going to really be effective, because they're such big monopolies in this country. I think that like educating parents that there are healthier options and cheaper options will be more effective, because I think a lot of families just don't know what's out there, and they see these prices and they think that that's the best way and the best solution, but they aren't educated, and maybe there are cheaper options and healthier options out there. So like nutrition classes and stuff like that. Yeah.
Was the targeted population of your study aware/concerned about the issue?
Say, I'm confused.
I said,
Like, you mean the people who
Yeah.
we're targeting, are they concerned with this at all?
Yeah.
I think that they aren't aware. And I'm focusing mainly on childhood obesity, and I think that there was a study taken, and it showed that parents of obese children don't realize that their kids are overweight, because like parents love their children and they see past, they're obviously supposed to love their children, but they just see past that issue, and so just raising awareness about it is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.